Big thank you to Void Interactive for sponsoring today's video. Welcome back everybody to the Ready or Not lore series, where in today's episode, we will discuss the Heavywell oil rig. This video will be divided up into two sections, the first being all in-game / developer confirmed information, and the second being my own theories as to where the world and story may go in the future.
Move quickly and clear the area.
Heavywell oil rig A1011, the first permitted to drill in the lucrative heavy oil reserves off Los Sueños, has been attacked by the eco-terrorist group, the United Planet Front, who have taken hostages. SWAT, with jurisdiction under an amendment to the Outer Continental Shelf Lands Act, have been called to the scene. Civilians on site are workers from the Heavywell A1011 rig. These workers, employed by Titan Petroleum Solutions, are part of a workforce that includes up to 100 hardworking Los Sueños citizens. They operate in shifts throughout the week on a fly-in, fly-out schedule, typically working in 2-week blocks. Current intelligence cannot confirm the exact number of workers present at any given time, nor provide a definitive list of personnel available at the start of each day. Additionally, reports indicate that UPF operatives may be utilizing Heavywell worker uniforms. The LSPD has instructed its operatives to exercise extreme caution in identifying and engaging targets. Suspects are members of the United Planet Front, or UPF, founded in the mid-1980s as a grassroots youth movement advocating for environmental preservation. The UPF initially operated with peaceful intentions. However, its trajectory changed after the involvement of Tobias Gibson and Mark Cross, who transformed it into a militant organization with eco-terrorist ideologies. Following Operation Lawmaker on February 19, 2026, which led to the apprehension of key suspects, the UPF experienced a power vacuum. This vacuum allowed the group to return briefly to its earlier idealistic roots, primarily influencing younger members on college campuses. However, in the aftermath of the operation, the UPF has escalated its extremist activities under new leadership. The organization has shifted from a military front with ideological pretenses to an underground terrorist network. The new leadership has been pushing more radical, anti-human measures to demonstrate their point of a pervasive mind virus being pushed into their network as a mimetic angle to further radicalize the organization. To what end and by whom is one for the LSPD to determine, or FISA if things keep escalating. The ongoing controversy surrounding drilling licenses and protests against the construction of the oil rig has long been a source of tension in Los Sueños. Coupled with a recent assassination attempt on the governor, the timing of the UPF siege appears too deliberate to be coincidental. Investigators believe this attack has been in planning for a significant period of time. And with that, let's listen to the 911 calls in the mission briefing.
911, this call is being recorded. What is your emergency?
This is the United Planet Front, and we have a message for you.
This line is for emergency...
Drilling platform Heavywell A101's operations have been halted. We have assumed control of the platform, and will commence the full shutdown of the rig to prevent the catastrophic threat it poses from occurring.
Sir, please.
The Earth is dying. Soon, so shall we. Caused by humanity's ideological hubris. Our planet suffocates under the weight of human overpopulation, driven by grain surpluses, industrial growth, and exploitation. The endless campaign of consumption and disruption of the planet and its ecosystem must be stopped. We will stop it by any means necessary. The time for democracy and placating the elite has come to an end. Our time has come to prioritize the survival of the Earth over the comfort, convenience, and malignancy of modern man. Man has made himself useless in light of the machine. Radical, uncomfortable steps are needed now to reduce the human population and dismantle the systems that are destroying our world. The Earth will not be saved through kindness, overpaid experts, the rustling of papers and bureaucracies, or pointless marches with signs and stern words. Only the strong-willed and ruthless will ensure the survival of what truly matters. Through this, the parasite of the collective mind will be purged. You have been warned.
911, this call is being recorded. What is your emergency?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you. Can I take your name?
Buddy Mallow. Is this the coast?
No, sir. This is the Los Sueños Emergency Services. Do you have an emergency?
Shit. Yeah, we do. They're killing people here.
Can you repeat that, sir?
They are killing people. I'm offshore, on a rig, the new Heavywell rig. I don't know what's going on, but the rig's been taken over by some bad dudes with lots of guns. I need you to get the coast, or whoever is out here, before they blow this fucking place and kill us all.
Okay, sir. Please remain calm. You say you're offshore?
Yeah, the new oil rig, off the coast.
Thank you. You say people are shooting. Is anybody hurt?
Yes. People are dead. They just shot them without warning.
Sir, are you in a safe place?
I doubt it. We're like fish in a barrel on this thing.
Okay, I need you to find a safe place and stay there. We are aware of the situation, and the LSPD SWAT has been dispatched.
They need to hurry up. Oh, shit. They're coming.
Who are they?
Drop the fucking phone! Now! All right. Don't shoot. Shut the
Mr.
fuck
Mallow?
up! Hey! Don't you move! I said don't!
All right, everybody. Settle down and bring it in. I know it's early, but we've got something developing, and it's going to be a new situation for all of us. We've received a call from the new drilling rig that sits off the coast. These UPF assholes have stormed the rig and taken everybody there hostage. At 08:04 this morning, we also received a recorded message from the group confirming their intentions and demands. We don't know when it was recorded, but we know it's genuine, as we also received a call from a worker on the rig. He confirmed that shots have been fired and there are already multiple fatalities. This is a whole new ballpark for us, and I know we've all done the training and we've been preparing for offshore operations, but this is a big one. That's why I've asked Commander Hugh Maberry from the coast to take control of this briefing. This will be a baptism of fire, so listen up and brace yourselves, because it'll be a case of grabbing your gear and wheels up as soon as he's finished.
Thank you, sir. Folks, I won't waste your time talking about the shooters, because you have all had more recent experiences with that than I have. But you are flying into a dangerous situation, and you need to be aware of everything going on around you every second you're out there. Rigs are a dangerous place to be, in any case. In this situation, even more so. You'll need to shut these guys down as quickly as possible. Shooting up an oil rig means we're one stray bullet away from a natural disaster. It'll be a different world once you get there. The winds out there on a day like today will play havoc with everything, and you'll need to watch your every step. An active drilling platform will be noisy, and any moving parts pose a threat to you and the rig's safety. There will be narrow spaces, lots of cover, and a sheer drop down into the Pacific. You're used to dangerous situations, but I can tell you, I've seen experienced men struggle to deal with the unique nature of rig disasters in the past, so I know what I'm talking about. Know your surroundings. Out there, it's just as much of a threat as the assholes we're out to get. If there are no immediate questions, we'll move on.
Now, pay close attention. I want everybody sharp out there. Whether it's a rig, a boat, or a desert fucking island, your job remains the same. Get in, get the job done, and get everybody home. We've got 3 entry points that are being uploaded to your tablets. The message we received from the terrorists confirms they want to shut the rig down, which is very dangerous if they don't know what they're doing. We don't know what they're doing with the hostages, but we need to get them out too. These guys will be spread all over the rig and are crazy enough to do anything. Okay, I've just been told these fuckers are live streaming their attack on the rig. We need to shut that down ASAP. Whatever happens out there, I don't want a fucking bloodbath broadcast for the whole world to see. It's time to move. I want equipment checks completed and everyone ready to load up. Head out to board this rig in 20 minutes.
So before we dive into the actual mission, there are quite a few things we need to break down first. Let's begin with why the LSPD is even here in the first place. The briefing mentions the Outer Continental Shelf Lands Act, which is a real US federal law enacted in 1953 to govern the development of offshore oil, gas, and mineral resources located on the outer continental shelf of the United States. This act grants the federal government jurisdiction over these areas and establishes a legal framework for their leasing, exploration, and development, while also aiming to balance resource extraction with environmental protection. The amendment referenced in the briefing likely envisions granting jurisdictional authority to local law enforcement or federal SWAT teams to respond to emergencies on the outer continental shelf, such as terrorism, hostage situations, or piracy. Also, during the mission briefing, we learn about a new faction called COAST. They are the California Offshore Air and Sea Team, or COAST, a specialized maritime agency responsible for enforcing laws, maintaining security, and ensuring the safety of California's waters. Their duties include search and rescue operations, enforcing maritime laws to combat smuggling, illegal immigration and trafficking, and protecting the maritime environment by preventing pollution and ensuring compliance with environmental regulations. They also maintain maritime safety by operating navigational aids, inspecting vessels, and ensuring compliance with safety standards. Additionally, COAST contributes to national defense by safeguarding shores from terrorism and military threats, patrolling busy maritime routes to deter piracy, illegal activities, and regulating commercial shipping to ensure adherence to safety protocols and proper cargo handling. Also, in case you're wondering where I got all this information from, it can be found all around the LSPD precinct. So it's pretty clear that COAST closely resembles the United States Coast Guard in several ways. Both are maritime-focused agencies tasked with enforcing the safety, security, and environmental protection of their respective waters. Like the Coast Guard, COAST is involved in search and rescue operations, law enforcement, border security, environmental protection, and maritime safety. However, COAST appears to be specific to California, potentially giving it a more localized jurisdiction and mandate compared to the actual Coast Guard, which operates nationally and internationally. So COAST might serve as a regional counterpart to the Coast Guard, which does in fact exist in this universe, by the way, or it could act as a specialized force addressing unique and specific challenges in California's waters. And very briefly, in case you need a refresher, the UPF were the guys who attacked the mansion of the oil industry lobbyist Sven Anderson Lincoln and held his family hostage. If you remember back, there were mentions of oil rigs and him attempting to financially sway Governor Armando Sanchez into backing the upcoming legislature discussion regarding the expansion of offshore drilling services, which clearly happened. Arriving on site via helicopter or boat, we see, frankly, a downright gorgeous map, and honestly one of my favorites in the game so far. It's an amazing change of scenery from what we're all used to. Rain pouring down, dark waters crashing up against the rig, heavy winds whipping through the air, and the sheer scale of the oil rig feels like a monstrous fortress standing tall against this violent storm. As I just mentioned, there are many ways to enter this rig, but for us, we'll be starting at the base of the rig. Climbing up the stairs, we see that the UPF has clearly changed since the last time we saw them. Multiple workers swing lifelessly, bound and hanged before a banner that reads, "Profit today, judgment tomorrow." The UPF has become far more radicalized from the last time we saw them, and are clearly embracing a more domestic terrorist role rather than radical environmentalists. Moving up the stairs and into the rig proper, there are many paths and doors to enter, as this is a very asymmetrical map, so we'll just focus on the overall important bits. Going into the crew quarters, we can see some new magazines on the couch that read, "The National Geozine. Efficient yet oppressive, how Germany has reformed its laws and enforcement to massively reduce crime rates at a high societal cost. The social climate. How climate change is also altering our psychology and giving rise to extremism. And right architecture. Los Sueños, how the city changed from industrious productive America to an aesthetic cheap nightmare." In the nearby cafeteria, we can find an open UPF laptop with a chat window left open that reads, "Papyrus, we are live. You watching? Big rig you dig. Yeah, I can't really see much though. Where are you? We are coming upstairs. Anyone outside? Fuck, already? Not that I know of, just me and a coworker in the kitchen. Better not be. We are not going loud. If we do, run and pretend you are a hostage. Just don't kill anyone. I never signed up for that." Moving upstairs, we find the bedrooms some of the crew were using and discover something interesting. The date. The last date in the timeline was the map Narcos, where the date was February 25th, 2026. just 1 week after the Category 5 Hurricane Antonio made landfall and decimated Los Sueños. Now it appears as though it's been a year-plus time jump, and this mission takes place October 21st, 2027, a date confirmed by the evidence boxes. This honestly makes a lot of sense because, get this, oil rigs take a while to build. And if the Mansion mission took place on February 19th, 2026, and Anderson Lincoln was still trying to get his proposal through, it's clear that the timeline of events make a lot of sense. The oil rig's construction would have likely taken over a year, possibly more, given the scale and complexity of a facility like this. The fact that we're now in October 27 suggests that the oil industry's efforts to expand offshore drilling are in full swing and clearly thriving in their efforts. Also, it's nice to know Deep Platoon got a little bit of a break because, Jesus, the end of 2025 and the beginning of 26 for them was just rough, to say the least. I mean, goddamn. Anyway, in one of the rooms, we can find an access card of presumably this mysterious Big Rig Ya Dig, aka the mole facilitating the UPF takeover. Taking this card to one of the rooms on the lower levels allows us to access another chat log between Big Rig, Papyrus, and someone called Daedalus that reads, "Big Rig Ya Dig. I've uploaded the floor plans, safety procedures, and documentation of the drill safety valves with pictures. It was a pain in the ass to access over such a slow connection with all this security. No more sneaky shit though. They're starting to suspect me. Papyrus. Good. I've been I don't even know how long here, playing undercover and sucking up just to get the keycard from his room. Just blow this shit up already. Nothing is getting blown up. Daedalus. That defeats the whole point of us being there by purposely creating a massive disaster. Fucking idiot. Shut the fuck up. I'm the one risking my neck here. We all are. Remember, close the chat window and log off this time, dumbass. We'll get into this more later, but looking at this chat as well as the prior one, it seems this Big Rig fella wasn't exactly clear on the UPF's overall plans for this oil rig assault. Other than this, if we go to this room, we can complete the first objective by pressing this button here, stop the live stream here, and if we press this button here, Judge will have this to say.
This is LSPD SWAT. The rig has been taken over by extremists from the United Planet Front. Repeat, the rig has been taken over. We have heavy contact with the suspects. Several civilians are dead, with others being held hostage somewhere on the rig. We need medical teams and backup on standby.
And that is all the lore I could find on this map, so let's move on to the evidence. First, we have a wearable camera used by a UPF member to live stream the UPF's assault on the drilling platform Heavywell A-1011. Mental Impact Assessment Summary Document, a summary report conducted by the Environmental Impact Assessment, EIA, on the Heavywell oil rig. Eventually, at some later date, these environmental concerns were to be addressed. Instead, those environmental concerns were addressed by the UPF. UPF Manifesto, a section of the publicly handed out manifesto of the UPF. These were particularly popular on college campuses, community gardens, and of course, protests. The movement has developed its ideology and grown since Tobias Gibson's initial formation. While he is portrayed as a martyr, the modern UPF has moved far away from his ideals and goals. And to summarize the text found in this manifesto, basically the United Planet Front is a radical eco-terrorist faction dedicated to sabotaging industrial systems and disrupting humanity's destructive dependence on oil and unstable practices. They view their actions not as terrorism, but as self-defense against the greed and excess that they see as the primary threats to life on Earth. Blaming corporations, governments, and consumer culture for environmental devastation, the UPF vows to retaliate for every harm done to nature, whether it be deforestation, species extinction, or oil spills, by dismantling these systems piece by piece. They believe humanity must be forced into balance with nature to ensure survival, even if it requires violent measures. Framing their mission as a fight for survival and ecological restoration, the UPF envisions a world free of industrial exploitation and calls for global resistance to join their cause to save the planet. And that is all the lore on this mission, so let's talk about a few things. So let's talk about the UPF. Like everyone in Los Sueños, they too have been pushed to radicalism. A key theme with nearly every faction we learn about in this game is desperation. The UPF's progression from grassroots environmentalism to militant eco-terrorism underlines their belief that extreme measures are necessary to force humanity into ecological balance. This shift highlights a clash between idealism and desperation in the face of global inaction on environmental issues. Not only this, but the year-plus time jump shows Titan Petroleum's persistence persistence in exploiting resources despite controversy and public backlash. This series of events reinforces the narrative that corporate interests often outweighs public and environmental concerns, and the oil rig's completion amidst protest and government assassination attempts reflect the ever-growing tension in Los Sueños, with oil being a catalyst for societal unrest and eco-terrorist actions. However, the UPF is not a well-oiled machine. Pun intended. The conversations we discover on the rig reveal dissonance within the UPF organization. Operatives like Big Rig Ya Dig express frustration, suggesting unclear or conflicting objectives within their ranks. This is further hinted at when Big Rig tells Papyrus, "Just don't kill anyone, I never signed up for that," only for us to uncover multiple bodies of presumably innocent workers. For an organization like this to grow so militant and unhinged in the course of a year isn't too shocking, all things considered, but I keep thinking back to that recovered phone of Tobias Gibson that had an odd text from an unknown number talking about how the media should see the violence and to never forget what he knows. Based on that conversation and the targeting of Anderson Lincoln, we theorized that a shadowy individual or organization may be manipulating events in Los Sueños to maintain instability and prevent the city's recovery. The mysterious text Tobias Gibson received appears to have come from someone orchestrating violence through the UPF, with the intent to derail Anderson Lincoln's efforts to address the city's looming energy crisis. While Anderson Lincoln is cutting corners on environmental safety for personal gain, his plan likely will, or already has, stabilized the city's energy issues. However, the shadowy figure behind Tobias seems intent on preventing this, potentially to maintain chaos or control. So basically, this unknown entity, possibly a government agency like the USIA, FISA, maybe even the MLO, or another secretive group, is using the UPF as a tool to escalate violence, as seen in the attack on Anderson Lincoln's mansion, where he was nearing a deal with the governor. Now we have this attack on the oil rig, and I feel as though this theory is becoming even more likely. The UPF, while driven by desperation and radical environmentalism, is showing signs of being manipulated to serve a larger agenda. The conflicting directives within the UPF, such as Big Rig Ya Dig's insistence on non-violence, juxtaposed with the presence of murdered workers, suggest that their actions might not fully align with their original ideals. This dissonance points to external interference, shaping the UPF's activities in a way that aligns with this shadow organization's goals rather than the UPF's stated mission. Given this shadow organization's apparent intent on preventing stabilization efforts, it raises questions about their ultimate goal. Are they simply fostering chaos to maintain power, or is there a larger, more insidious plan at play? The attack on the rig might be more than just an act of eco-terrorism. It could be a carefully engineered spectacle designed to provoke a decisive reaction. Perhaps a crackdown that would shift Los Sueños further into authoritarian control, or justify the dismantling of any progressive attempt to address the energy crisis. I mean, we are already seeing Los Sueños becoming more of a police state with the amendment to the Outer Continental Shelf Lands Act greatly increasing the LSPD's jurisdiction. As this overall narrative unfolds, this mission really underscores the growing complexity of Los Sueños' descent into chaos, revealing that the UPF's radicalization and the shadow organization's interference are deeply intertwined. The events on the rig might not just be another act of desperation, but part of a calculated strategy to ensure the city never escapes the cycle of instability that has come to define it. But at the end of the day, these are just theories about our inevitable demise at the hands of an all-knowing shadowy cabal controlling our every thought and action. If you're looking for something a little more concrete, then I highly suggest you hop over to Civilian Use Only's channel, where he has a complete breakdown of all the new non-AR pattern battle rifles added to this new update. I, for one, am very happy my beloved M14 has finally been added after I've been staring at it through this stupid glass pane for the past year. And if you want to know more about it, check out his video by clicking the link on screen or in the description.